Hey guys, so that lick there is basically a celebration of my favorite guitarist, Luca Turilli, who just released an incredible new album the other day, which I would recommend you guys checking out, big time. Anyway, so this lick itself is in C harmonic minor, and will kind of employ some of his most used techniques, chiefly sweep picking, obviously. So we'll be coming in on the third beat of a 3-4 run, so we'll be starting 1, 2... and that opening part on the 3 of the opening measure is the first inversion in triplets of the C minor arpeggio triad. So that would be 8, 10, 10, 8, 8, 8. And after that, we're going to be employing a technique I've talked about before in a previous lesson, where I just kind of throw some of my accenting to the wayside in favor of pure speed, and this will be all descending. So we'll be going on the first inversion, so that would be 11, 8, 8, 8. But as opposed to going back up like I often would, we're just going to be going down, just descending the whole time. Then we're going to move down to the major shape, so that'd be 10, 7, 8, 7. Okay, so we'll have that. Then back up. And then we're going to switch from 16th notes to 8th notes and go to the second inversion up to the 15th fret. So that would be 15, 11, 13, 12, 13, 15. And after this is where things get really tricky, because we're going to need to move that pinky all the way back up to the high E, and we're going to switch to the key of F. So that'll be sort of the same pattern that we were doing before, but with a little bit of a twist. It'll be 16, 13, 13, 13, 15, 12, 13, 12, and then we have to lead the pointer back up to the 13th fret and play 13, 13, 13, 15. So be... There's a secondary way to play that I found a little bit more uncomfortable, but I'll show it to you just in case you'd rather do it that way. We can also go and then drop down here and play 13, 8, 9, 10. But for me, it's more comfortable to just kind of have all of those notes in one place, just to be... Anyway, once we get to the point of whichever shape you decided to play, our pinky is going to shoot up to the 18th fret. And we're going to play the first inversion again, just with it raised from the 16th fret to the 18th fret. So that would be 18, 13, 13, 13, 15, 15. The speed patterns stay the exact same as the previous measure, 3 16th notes followed by a measure of 8th notes. And now we're going to move up and go back to the key of C minor and start on the third inversion now on the 20th fret. So that would be 20, 15, 16, 17, down to the second inversion, 15, 11, 13, 12. And now we're going to switch to diminished to make it more harmonic minor sounding. So we're going to shoot up a fret, the 16th fret, and play 16, 13, 15, 16, down 3 frets, 13, 10, 12, 13, down 3 more, 10, 7, 9, 10, and then back to the first inversion, 11, 8, 8, 8. And that's almost the end of our arpeggios entirely, because now we're going to switch to pedal tones. And we're going to go into the shape that would be similar to our third inversion, or second inversion rather, jeez. So, that would be starting the 15th fret, and all 8th notes. It would be 15, 13, 15, 11, 15, 10. So for context, slowly, the measure before and the measure that I just played will go. That's a tough transition because you're thinking 16th notes and then you immediately have to go straight back to 8th notes and just kind of have whatever you're doing. Anyway, once we get past this, we're we're going to go down to the G and play the note G, because that is the 5 in our 1-4-5 sequence here, and play 12 up to the B, 15, 13, 15, 12, 15. And then we're going to have to go back up to the E, but my pinky is already in use here, so it wouldn't make much sense for me to jump it when I've got all these free fingers here. So what I preferred to do was move my ring up to the 16th fret and make that F shape again to play 16, 15, 16, 13, 16, 13. And then we're going to go back to a C harmonic minor shape by sliding up 3 frets, kind of giving it that diminished feel again, and going 16, 20, 19, 20, 16, 20, half note on the 15th fret. And this is where we get to our final sequence here, and this part's really fun, because we're going to switch into groupings of 5. So we 15, then pull off on 13, 11, and play that 3-string second inversion sequence. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'd hold that out for another half note, then play 5 more, starting on the 11th fret. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be 11, 13, 12, 13, 15. And then as opposed to a half note for the final measure, we're going to do a dotted quarter note, because we're going to kind of do a lead-in note, which I prefer to do, because we ended on the 3rd inversion as you saw in the video, but as opposed to me just kind of going, I just thought that seemed kind of boring. So what I decided to do was count, obviously the dotted quarter, and then add an 8th note as a lead on, so it'd be like, as opposed to just going, it would be, and we can kind of keep those groupings of 5 together. Anyway, so to talk about that, when we go past here in 5 again, we're going to transition pinky to pointer, and then obviously play that lead-in 8th note. That final part is the only part I'll really go over big time, because the other parts are, relatively self-explanatory through the tab. 16th notes and 8th notes. But for the 5s, you have to think 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how you end it. And that 20, obviously, I shouldn't have counted it that way, but I would just say that's 5, and then you end it on the 1, because the 5 is going to end the entire measure. Alright guys, basically that's just kind of a fun etude that you can play around with. Nothing incredibly new here, but it'll kind of help you to gauge where you're at in terms of your arpeggios and just kind of your neoclassical playing in general, because it really tests the vast majority of all the things I've talked about so far in this channel. So it's at 190. I would start at about 95. Again, just kind of half speeding it, maybe even a little less if you're not totally comfortable with that yet. Get your fundamentals down first, and like I've said before, break it down into 1 or 2 note patterns first, and then kind of work from there, because it's just an info overload if you're just thinking and just trying to think of all of these notes all at once. So if you have any problems, questions, suggestions, feel free to get a hold of me. I'll definitely help you out however I can. Alright guys, have a good one. See you next time.